Ramping up to do that scene for like 3 years.
Filming got off to a rocky start. The crew got stranded on an island and Robert Pattinson crashed a boat.
Could have been better.
The fourth film in the Twilight franchise required a lot of work and some tight security to make sure the production went off without a hitch. Kristen Stewart even had to cover her wedding dress with a cape whenever she wasn't filming.
It's a good disguise.
Which producer makes a sneaky appearance in the movie? Filming in Brazil brought the cast and crew of Breaking Dawn Part 1 a fair amount of troubles, particularly when it came to filming on an island. The team was just 3 days into filming on location in South America when they wound up being stranded on a small island overnight because of extremely bad weather. The crew acted quickly and tarps were brought out to protect the cast from getting too wet and the set pieces from becoming damaged. Since filming abroad proved to be tricky, especially with having only 1 week in Brazil, the majority of the set was recreated in Louisiana to film most of the indoor honeymoon shots with CGI added after the fact. Bella and Edward's wedding was a pretty big deal, and it was saved to be the last scene filmed, with major security precautions taken. There were literally helicopters overhead making sure no one could see what was going on except for those involved with the production. On the ground, blankets and umbrellas were used to keep the set and cast out of sight. Kristen Stewart was even sporting a cape when the cameras stopped rolling to avoid any leaked images of the custom-made wedding dress. Just to make sure everything was extra secure, there were also literal police officers surrounding the scene. Running at incredible speed for the camera wasn't just a result of training. Elizabeth Reeser and Kellen Lutz were actually set in a pretty precarious rig with a rolling treadmill. The actors were secured on the rig by this green beam, while it was also being pulled by a truck with cameras hooked up to it, capturing all the action. Filming in a gorgeous country like Brazil might seem like a dream, but for Robert Pattinson, one scary shooting day was a real-life nightmare. The actor was manning a boat in the water, but instead of smooth sailing, Pattinson wound up crashing the rig. To make it all worse, it wasn't a private affair. The Edward Cullen actor had 5,000 pairs of eyes watching. On the upside, the actor was already pretty used to crashing the boat since he had regularly done so when he was taking boating lessons. Evidently, it seems like he could have used a few more lessons. Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson had to get very intimate for the cameras on numerous occasions. But what they hadn't planned for was needing to reshoot their climactic intimate scene. Initially, the footage captured was way too risque and required the film to have an R rating, but with so many fans of the franchise being younger, the team opted to go to camera again. The major issue? Too much of Pattinson's rear end was featured.
Also, you used to be able to see my butt in it.
While it was a tough scene for Kristen Stewart to do, she was happy with it in the end, even though it was just 40 seconds long in the final cut. Watching Bella give birth in Breaking Dawn Part 1 is still a traumatizing experience, and unfortunately, it wasn't much better on set for the cast and crew. Pattinson even called it perhaps the ickiest birth scene ever filmed. It's not a fun one to watch with all the gory details and Bella's clearly intense pain. With her already being in such a tough state, sickly, and severely underweight, the scene is far from pleasant. The birth scene may be disturbing, but credit has to be given to the team for how creative they got when it came to bringing the moment to life. The creepy blood on newborn Renesmee was actually a combination of strawberry jam and cream cheese. We can only imagine it would have been a very sticky situation for everyone involved. 3 hours worth of makeup and prosthetics were applied to Kristen Stewart for her birthing scene. Surprisingly, much of what we see of Stewart's body is actually prosthetics, pretty much from the shoulders down. The large table she was laying on had a space in it so the actress could lay her body down underneath the prosthetics. She wasn't alone under the table though. A puppeteer was based inside to maneuver the limbs realistically. Kellen Lutz put his downtime to extremely productive use while shooting the final 2 Twilight films. Between takes, the actor went workout crazy and was getting fit consistently for the full 7 months of filming, resulting in a very buff body. Lutz made very good use of all that downtime. While Taylor Lautner was famously topless throughout the majority of the Twilight saga,
Doesn't he own a shirt?
Robert Pattinson had his fair share of shirtless moments, especially when Edward and Bella filmed some of their spiciest and most intimate scenes in Breaking Dawn Part 1. The actor spent a full 6 months doing intense training and watching his diet before filming,
Because it's the only one I really worked out for.
all of which ended once the intimate scene had finished filming. So many of the male actors in Twilight seemed to be on intense workout and diet regimens, and Lautner was, of course, no exception. All those shirtless scenes required a lot of work behind the scenes. But for the actor, the biggest challenge was actually the amount of calories he had to eat during his intense workout times. Lautner was often sneaking bits of food between takes to contribute to the whopping 4,000 calories he had to eat per day. Pattinson really put a lot of effort and work into his role as Edward. In fact, he learned to speak Portuguese, just for the sake of shooting the scene with the housekeepers when Edward and Bella are on their honeymoon in Brazil.
Me diz como ele poderá sobreviver a isso.
He may be needing some more lessons, though. Renesmee as a newborn, shockingly, wasn't just a prop doll. There was a real infant on set. Depending on what was being filmed, the team swapped the doll for the real child, and both had CGI retouching done in editing. Performing with an infant is an intense experience. Working with a real baby isn't always easy though, especially when it's not happy and screams to let everyone know it.
Jacob's emotions in Breaking Dawn Part 1 go to a whole new level.
Taylor Lautner really gave it his all when it came to the Twilight films, so no doubt he was invested in the final products. According to Kristen Stewart, the Jacob actor actually cried while watching one of the cuts with the cast. With all the work, time, and effort, it's no surprise Lautner caught some feelings.
It was tough when it came to an end.
The writer of the Twilight books was never too far, being on set for all of the filming, and she actually made the cut in a major scene. Amid the crowd watching Edward and Bella getting married is the author Stephenie Meyer. She, the other screenwriter Melissa Rosenberg, and Wick Godfrey, a producer, got to attend the wedding together. Since Meyer was one of the screenwriters, an executive producer, and the creator of the whole Twilight universe, she definitely earned her cameo appearance. It had been a while since her first, as a restaurant customer in the first Twilight film. The cast and crew may have faced some hurdles while filming, especially when on location and trying to keep the wedding scene totally hidden, but they pulled off another great film. Evidently, these movies were a huge commitment for much of the cast and crew. If we were Stephenie Meyer, we'd want to make cameos in the films as well.